A lost Albert Einstein letter links physics and biology. Einstein won a Nobel Prize in 1921. A newly unearthed letter from the celebrated physicist cements just how ahead of his time he actually was. Adrian Dyer, Andrew Greentree, and Jair Garcia from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology take a look at the significance of what Einstein wrote in his long-lost letter. Since the dawn of the electronic age, it has never been easier for researchers to engage with the general public, gaining access to precise resources otherwise unavailable, and precious resources. This is illustrated perfectly in our latest publication, in which we introduce a previously unknown letter written in 1949 by none other than Albert Einstein. In it, the German-born mathematician and physicist discusses bees, birds, and whether new physics principles could come from studying animal senses. First, we came across it in 2019 after Judith Davies, retired living in the United Kingdom, read an article we'd published on the mathematical abilities of bees. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Yes, the mathematical abilities of bees. And she reached out to us to share the 72-year-old letter which Einstein had addressed to her late husband, Glyn Davies. And we spent a year investigating that precious document. A key encounter? Einstein was one of the greatest thinkers of the 20th century, as well as an excellent communicator. His imagination helped shape many technologies that define the information age today. For example, Einstein's theory of general relativity governs the large-scale structure of the universe, which in turn enables corrections for the GPS system used on our smartphones. In 1921, Einstein was awarded a Nobel Prize for his study of the photoelectric effect. This effect describes how light can remove electrons from atoms, a principle that underpins the operation of today's solar cells. In 1933, Einstein left Germany to work at Princeton University in the United States, and it was here in April 1949 he met scientist Carl von Frisch at a lecture. Von Frisch was visiting Princeton to present his new research on how honeybees navigate more effectively using the polarization patterns of light scattered from the sky. He used this information to help translate bees' now famous dance language, for which he eventually received his own Nobel Prize. The day after Einstein attended von Frisch's lecture, the two researchers shared a private meeting. Although this meeting was not formally documented, the recently discovered letter from Einstein provides some insight into what may have been discussed. Animal behavior from a physicist's lens. We suspect Einstein's letter is a response to a query he received from Glyn Davies. In 1942, as World War II raged, Davies had joined the British Royal Navy. He trained as an engineer and researched topics including the budding use of radar to detect ships and aircraft, and this nascent technology was kept top secret at that time. By complete coincidence, biosonar sensing had been discovered in bats at the same time, alerting people to the idea that animals may have different senses from humans. While any previous correspondence from Davies to Einstein appears lost, we were interested in what may have prompted him to write to the famous physicist. So we set out to trawl through online archives of news published in England in 1949. From our search, we found von Frisch findings of bee navigation were already big news by July of that year, and he had even been covered in the Guardian newspaper in London. The news specifically discussed how bees use polarized light to navigate, and as such we think this is what spurred Davies to write to Einstein. It's also likely Davies' initial letter to Einstein specifically mentioned bees, and von Frisch, as Einstein responded, I am well acquainted with Mr. von Frisch's admirable investigations. It seems von Frisch's ideas about B sensory perception remained in Einstein's thought since the two scientists crossed paths at Princeton 6 months earlier. In his letter to Davis, Einstein also suggested that for bees to extend our knowledge of physics, new types of behavior would need to be observed. Remarkably, it's clear through his writing that Einstein envisaged new discoveries could come from studying animals' behaviors. Einstein wrote, "It is thinkable that the investigation of the behavior of migratory birds and carrier pigeons may someday lead to the understanding of some physical process which is not yet known," end quote. Einstein's idea seems right yet again. Now, more than 70 years since Einstein sent his letter, research is indeed revealing the secrets of how migratory birds navigate while flying thousands of kilometers to arrive at a precise destination. In 2008, research on thrushes fitted with radio transmitters showed for the first time that these birds use a form of magnetic compass as their primary orientation guide during flight. One theory for the origin of magnetic sense in birds is the use of the quantum randomness and entanglement. Both of these physics concepts were first proposed by Einstein, but although Einstein was one of the founders of quantum physics, he was uncomfortable with its implications. Einstein said, "God does not play with dice." He famously stated to express his opposition to the randomness which lay at the heart of quantum mechanics. In other words, Einstein believed everything was perfectly mathematical in nature, because that's how God designed it. Now, in an influential 1935 paper, Einstein and co-authors Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen introduced the concept of quantum entanglement. Interestingly, it was introduced as a conceptual failure of quantum mechanics rather than one of its defining centerpieces as we now understand it. Perhaps ironically, one of the leading theories for the origin of magnetic sense in birds is the use of quantum randomness and entanglement. This theory suggests radical pair chemical reactions in cryptochromes, signaling proteins found in certain plants and animals, are affected by the Earth's magnetic field and thus form the basis of the bird's biological magnetic compass. Although Einstein disagreed with entanglement, his willingness to speculate on how we might learn new things for animal sensory perception suggests he would have been delighted by how new research on bird migration is pushing the boundaries of our understanding of physics. Indeed, Einstein's letter to Davis is testament to how open he was to new possibilities for the field of physics being observed in nature. It illustrates once again how mindful he was of what one might discover when taking a different view of the world. This is by Adrian Dyer, Associate Professor, RMIT University, Andrew Greentree, Professor of Quantum Physics and Australian Research Council Fellow, RMIT University, and Jair Garcia, Research Fellow, RMIT University. This was published from the Conversation Creative Commons, and it's on Out of Minds too. Please leave your comment and thank you for your support.